There is one day each month that can change your relationship, change your family, change almost everything for your child. We're going to tell you about that in just a sec. Hello and welcome to the Happy Families Podcast. Real parenting solutions every day on Australia's most downloaded parenting podcast. We are Justin and Kylie Coulson. And Hun, every Friday we get, I was going to say down and dirty, but that's not really what this podcast is about. We get into the details. The nitty gritty. I'm glad that I'm so funny that I made you snort. Was that a snort?
Maybe, just a little.
we get into the detail of how our family's going, what we're doing right, what we're doing wrong, how we can do things better. And we introspect because we want to be intentional parents. Today I'm going to go first because my one is really, really, really short. Over the course of this past week, I'm back to work and travel. There's been a bunch of schools that are heading back next week, and so I've been doing a lot of staff development seminars and sessions, professional development for teachers, and I've been away a lot more than I have been over the last couple of months. This last week, being away, it's reminded me of how bad hotel pillows are, no matter what hotel you're staying at. And it's reminded me of how much I miss my family when I travel. It's the hardest part of my job. The best part is making a difference in people's lives, but the hardest part, without question, is being away from you and the kids. On whatever day it was, a couple of days ago, I got back from having been away for 2 nights. And when I got home, I walked into the kitchen to find you having made a delicious, healthy, gluten-free banana cake, and our 2 teenage daughters, aged 17 and 14. And they were just delighting in one another. They were laughing. They were telling stories. They were, do you even remember what they were talking about? I mean, it was just stuff, right? Just teenage girls being fun teenage girls, 2 sisters having a laugh.
Well, the fact that one of them had been away for nearly 2 weeks made the reunion delightful.
So they were having a really great catch-up. But but the thing is, I had a really big headache because I hadn't slept because of a bad pillow in a hotel room. But walking in and hearing these 2 girls catching up and spending time together and laughing their heads off, I don't know what's happening to me. I mean, I guess I've kind of always done this. We do it all the way through, but at the moment, there's something happening where I feel like these experiences are richer than they've ever been. We're dealing with daughters 4 and 5 in their teens now. Only daughter number 6 is still to hit hers. And there's something about it. I want to reach out and capture the moment. I don't want the moment to disappear. It almost brings me to tears as I stood in the kitchen and spread butter, probably too much butter, on my healthy gluten-free banana cake that you had made, and listened to the girls. And I thought, I want this moment to last forever. This is heaven. My I'll do better tomorrow is how can we have, number 1, more of those moments, but then number 2, how can we be in those moments and inhale them? How can we absorb them? How can we emblazon them on our memories? And I think the only way that you can do it is to be absolutely present. I wasn't interested in checking my emails, even though I hadn't looked at them all day. Didn't really care if I had any social media notifications.
The fact that you had delicious banana bread in your hands may have sweetened the moment.
It did center me. It did certainly keep me really present and right there. But it was just this, intention, mindfulness. I want to do a quick experiment with you. You might have done this with me before, and if you have, then try not to ruin it. I want to do some quick maths with you. What's 1,000 plus 40?
1,040.
Plus 1,000.
2,040.
Plus 30.
2,070.
Plus 1,000.
3,070.
Plus 20.
3,090.
Plus 1,000.
4,090.
Plus 10.
4,100.
I think I've done this with you before. You were paying too much attention. You knew what was coming, but I'm going to guess.
No, I'm not good at maths, so I needed to make sure I wasn't going to make a fool of myself. You've got the record button on.
Well, I guess there's 2 things here. First thing, you're saying you're not good at maths, so therefore you had to pay attention. On the same day that I had this beautiful interaction with our daughters, I ran that puzzle by a room of educators. Probably 100 school teachers are sitting in the room, and the opening exercise, the opening conversation piece for my keynote presentation for them was, let's do some simple maths and wake up your brain. And when you get to 4,090 and I say plus 10, the whole room, and I've done this with I've done this with thousands of people over the years, the whole room, and maybe whoever's listening to the podcast felt the same way. Everyone just says 5,000. They go there mindlessly. Because you're not good at maths, you are trying really hard to be in the moment. Quite often they're in the room and they're not so much in the moment, they're just sort of on autopilot. And really my take-home message is, when it comes to our kids, we can't be on autopilot, or maybe a better term for it would be we can't be on auto-parent. We need to be there in the moment with them, paying attention. When we do it, the moments are just so much richer. That's my I'll do better tomorrow. Be in the moment, soak it up, because one day they're not going to be 3 or 7 or 11 or 14 and 17 again. Kylie, what's your I'll do better tomorrow? We've teased it at the top of the podcast. There's one day each month that will make a bigger difference in your family's life, in your kids' life, than just about anything else.
Well, it flows in beautifully from your message in that you have to be intentional. I would love to attribute this to
our genius and prowess and brilliance as parents.
But this actually has to go to one of our listeners, and I wish that I had taken note of their name when I read their comment, because it has stuck with me. But they suggested that one of the things they do in their home is they have a date night with each of their children on the birth date of each of them.
Right. So basically, if your child is born on the 2nd of May, every month, January through December, on the 2nd, you have a date night.
Yeah.
Or an outing of some kind. Maybe it's a brekkie, but you go and do something to celebrate their birthday each month on the 2nd.
Well, it's not about celebrating their birthday. It's actually about being intentional about making time together.
Great clarification.
So I attempted to do it last year with moderate success.
Right.
It's a little bit tricky. There's 6 of them. And our lives were very, very busy last year.
That is a lot of date nights or date days or mornings out or whatever. That's a lot.
But at the beginning of the year, I recommitted that this was something I really wanted to try. And so at the beginning of January, I sat down and looked at my calendar. I actually marked out the days that I would be required. And then I worked out exactly what would make a meaningful experience for each of our children. If we leave it to chance, if we leave it to the last minute, we're going to have a substandard experience. But if we are actually really intentional, do you know what? This is something that either my child's been dying to do forever and we just have never got around to it, or this is something that's going to light my child up. You are going to build memories with your children in ways that you won't otherwise do so, because you are willing to be so in the moment with them.
There's a podcast that I really like listening to who says something along the lines of, the definition of love is bearing witness to one another's lives. And I love that idea. It's about togetherness. You have to be together. You have to be considered and affectionate towards one another and watch and participate and spend time in one another's lives. That's how you show that you love them.
So the other day I took one of our girls out for an early morning walk. She doesn't love getting up too early, so this was a little bit of a stretch for her.
Understatement of the month.
But I did sweeten the deal with an acai bowl. I don't know whoever came up with the idea or concept, but to me, it is sunshine in a cup, and it is the best way to start a day.
I love that. I can't stand this stuff. I don't know how you eat it. You've tried to force feed it to me, and every time I'm just like, wow, that is so sweet.
Especially when you put some peanuts in there and you've got the crunch and the sweet. Oh, it's just awesome. I love it. But so does she.
Right.
So she doesn't want to pay for it though. So going on a little date with
Have you noticed that none of our kids want to pay for anything? It's always on us all the time. I wonder if we were like that with our parents. I think so.
But part of the sunshine in a cup is being able to sit down on the water's edge and to just soak in the sun's rays and just that beautiful positive energy from the ocean and lap it up. And what's beautiful about that is sitting side by side and being in that beautiful setting, conversations that would not happen any other way start to flow. And as I listened to her share the things that she was really excited about this year, I was blown away how much growth has taken place even in the last 6 months. She applied for uni, didn't get into the course that she wanted, had to take on a second course that she wasn't excited about. But given 6 months of time and work and play and all of the stuff that's happened, she's now sitting there going, you know what? I wasn't really excited about it, but I can't wait. I'm so excited to get involved in this. And who knows where this is going to take
So
me.
much so that she's essentially saying, I'm not sure if I actually want to do the thing that I thought I really wanted to do because this has really grabbed me.
And 6 months down the track, we might be in a totally different position and she might go, actually, I don't know why I was excited about this, but that's okay. That's okay.
Tangent on this, and it's a really important tangent for any parent who has got a child who says, this is what I want to do, or this is the path that I want to take. Some research that came out some years ago from a researcher named Laura King, she looked at this concept known as the best possible future self. Essentially what it is it's projecting yourself into the future and imagining in 5 or 10 years all the things that you want to have happen, having happened, so that you can see not just the kind of life you're living, but the kind of person you've become. It's really much more about character than career and finances and aspiration. But what's fascinating about her research is, I can't remember if it was her or some career researchers, they took on this idea and said, well, that's great if you've got a clear idea of what you want to do, but there's potentially a whole lot of different best possible future selves. What they found was when they got people to do this experiment where they would imagine themselves doing the thing that they dreamed of, but also doing one or two other things that they hadn't really dreamed of, but they might really like to do or really like to try, things that are completely different to their dream career or dream goal, they found that people were much more balanced and much more relaxed about the future, and their well-being was higher and their life satisfaction was higher because they weren't so boldly, completely wedded to this one true path. What they started to understand was, I can take the pressure off a bit because there are a multitude of different things that I could do that could still help me to be who I want to be, develop how I want to develop, and make a difference in the way that I'd like to do it. So when I hear you tell that story, that sparks joy and satisfaction and optimism for me, because it makes me think our daughter was initially rigidly fixed to a specific career path, and now she's going, there's any number of options that might be suitable for me. And that's a wonderful thing to come out of a conversation like that.
We were also able to talk about the things that she was anxious about, the things that were worrying her at the moment, the things that she was fearful of, and just being able to sit there without the agenda, without the stress of everybody else in the house moving and getting on with things, that intentional time that's taken away from everything else meant that we could sit there and I could actually listen, hear, offer support, and we could work through those challenges. You know, the best thing to say to your kid when they're struggling like that, what's the worst thing that could happen if that happens? What's going to happen if you fail that class? What's the worst thing? Is someone going to die? Is it going to, is the world going to erupt? No, you're going to have to do another class. It's not the end of the world. Your teacher might be able to give you an extension assignment or, there's so many other possibilities, but human nature, we go to the worst possible case scenario. So it was just a really lovely opportunity to have that moment, and I want more of them.
So the take-home message for your I'll Do Better Tomorrow?
Be intentional about finding moments that you can spend with your child. It might be the structure that we've been shared by one of our wonderful listeners, if you're out there, but it might be another way. You might do it each weekend, or it might be a Sunday thing, whatever works for your family. It is about making time for each of your children one-on-one.
Yep, love is spelt Time to our kids. We really hope that there's some helpful take-home message and inspiration from our I'll Do Better Tomorrow. Have a great weekend. The Happy Families podcast is produced by Justin Rulon. For more information and resources that will make your family happier, we'd love for you to visit us at happyfamilies.com.au.